Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Van Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. Huh? So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
Madness Entertainment Group presents the Madness Comic Network with original programming and additional comic-related content.
Hey, we want to shout out to our sponsors, Daytona Beach Comic Con. If you are a fan of comic books, if you're a fan of comic book conventions, and if you like meeting comic book creators and getting comics and comic-related stuff, then you need to make your plans to attend Daytona Beach Comic Con. This year's show is September 9th and 10th. Silverline will be there, so you should make your plans to be there too. We'll see you there. If you like comics and find yourself in the Orlando, Florida area, doesn't everyone come to Orlando at some point in time to see the House of Mouse? But when you're here, you need to make it a point to visit Coliseum of Comics, especially the one on East Colonial Drive. They carry Silverline comics, even a limited edition Coliseum of Comics version of our comics. So, when you go, be sure to ask for Silverline Comics and tell them we sent you. OCD stands for Orlando Collector Deviants. OCD, Steve and Trish, they're a family of geeks who promote geek things, particularly those around the Orlando, Florida area. They're big supporters of Silverline, and we think you should be supporters of theirs too. Go give them some love. If you are an independent comic book maker and you need to get your independent comics made, you need to look no further than Kablam Digital Printing. They print our books, and they do a bang-up job. They're not only trusted by Silverline, but many, many independent comic book makers. Head on over to kablam.com and see for yourself just how easy it is to have your comic printed by them. And tell them Silverline sent you.
Hi, this is Tim TK, host of That Silverline Show on Tuesday. Join us at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific every Tuesday night as we discuss pop culture and the joys of making comics.
Hi, I'm Barb Kelber, co-host of Silverline's Wednesday Wham. Join us each Wednesday nights as we discuss comics, literature, movies, and anything else that may catch our attention.
I'm Roland Mann, and I host Silverline's Silver Sunday. Join me every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern as we make mine Silverline.
Good evening, everybody. Hey, hi, guys. It is Wednesday Wham for Silverline. I'm your guest host, Scott Wakefield. Dean can't be with us tonight. We know he's having a great time elsewhere, but we miss him already. And we got a small crew tonight. I think some other folks will be joining us. Tonight, we are going to be talking crowdfunding and the differences between the different options, Kickstarter and Indiegogo and so forth, what to do, what not to do from our experience, from what we've heard, what we've been told, what we've learned, and how we can do it better every time, which is the goal, to continually improve and keep getting our stories out there. I want to thank Daytona Beach Comic Convention for their support as always. That is coming up in September, which always seems far away, but then you realize it's September, and we've been talking about it for a while. So, yeah, exactly. So that'll be coming up, and we appreciate their support as always. As I said, my name is Scott Wakefield. I am the co-creator, co-writer of the Steam Patriots series, which Steam Patriots issue number 2 should be coming soon. No confirmed date yet, but I know I have some knowledge that it should be hopefully around the corner. And we've got Barb and we have Rob with us tonight. Great creators with a long list of titles to their name and successful Kickstarter campaigns under their belts. So I'll go over to Barb and let her say hello. And then Rob, once she's done, you can chime in.
Ladies first.
Okay. I'm Barb Kelberg, and I am the creator, inker, and colorist co-writer on my own book, Divinity, the inker for Cat and Mouse, and the colorist for the upcoming Kickstarter book Sirens. I'm also the CFO of Silverline, so I have an intimate look at what it takes to put on a Kickstarter and what it costs you to put on a Kickstarter.
Right. Great. Yeah, that's going to come up. We'll get the nuts and bolts, which is very important because people need to treat this like, if you're going to be creative in this world, you need to be. A lot of people
underestimate.
Exactly.
And end up losing money.
Right? They think I'll just put it out there. Right? No, it's a business. You got to treat yourself as a professional, as a business professional, and that's vital. Unless you're just doing it for fun, and so be it. But if you want to try to turn a buck, and in the creative industry, it's not always easy. But I'll let Rob say hello, and we can get into that.
Well, hello. I'm Rob Davis. I've been a penciler, inker, letterer, comic book artist since 1987. So it's been a while. Started out in the industry as a letterer, became an inker and then a penciler. Probably my biggest claim to fame is Star Trek Deep Space Nine from Malibu. I also did a couple of things for DC on their Star Trek books. And recently for Silverline, I penciled and inked Twilight Grim, an R.A. Jones property. And I believe the next Kickstarter is probably coming sometime in the next couple of months for that, for issue 4, which is the last one in the series. And then we'll look at making a graphic novel out of it and seeing what we do with that. But I know very little about Kickstarting, so I'm going to learn with everybody else.
So I am going to likewise learn tonight, and that's really one of the goals of our why we talk, right? Why do we do this show? Is because we get together across the country here from all points of North America and other shows sometimes around the globe, and we talk about what we've learned in the process, and hopefully impart that knowledge to folks out there so that they can avoid any pitfalls. Give them the opportunity, of course, to chime in and learn from us as well. And everything's always changing, everything's always evolving. So if we don't want to get stuck in any way of doing a thing, so that's half the reason we talk. And I think like 80% of the reason we talk is because it's fun and we like hanging out, right? So
yeah,
to talk about comics and movies and books. And we got Royal Airships. That is our very own Rory Boyle from Bird Residence in North Carolina. We all look devilishly. We look charming. Thank you, Rory. I assume Rory is Rory. I will lift the glass to you, my friend. And I assume he's doing likewise. Rory is co-creator with me with Steam Patriots, and we enjoy writing our story together. And he is working on getting the nuts and bolts of maybe a little bit of a side story. If the Steam Patriots world, hey, Aaron, if the Steam Patriots world keeps growing, it could grow, keep growing. Aaron, say hello, and we're going to roll right into
Kickstarters?
Crowdfunding.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Go ahead.
I draw stuff for Silverline. I draw in the obsolete. I just started drawing that. Finished up my graphic novel, Godlings. That's done. So
yay.
Awesome.
Yeah, I make kids' books too. So
you know what you never say when you talk about Godlings is, where can people find Godlings?
They can find it on my store, which is Humphrey's Illustration at bigcartel.com. I think that's how it is. My last name is spelled Humphress. You have to spell the last right, or you'll never find me. It's very frustrating sometimes because it's easy to spell Humphreys, and then I know they'll walk away and be like, "Yeah, they're going to spell it wrong," and they'll never find
wrong. Right. So people just Google your name; they'll find Aaron Humphreys and Godlings, and they can get your. It's a pretty epic tome, right? You put a lot of time in this. And,
issue 11 and 12 are on their way. They just got shipped today, so they'll be
awesome.
That's to be the final, and then I am having Kablam make put the order in for the one book, the big solid book.
The omnibus.
Oh,
Omnibus
awesome.
sort of
Oh,
thing.
yeah. Yeah, and thanks for mentioning Kablam. Kablam does, as far as I know, our exclusive printing, and they can do all the comic books for us, and they do a fantastic job. And we can get into that. I don't want to forget the process, because I want people to know what it takes for a comic book once something is funded. So don't let me forget to get to that. We'll get to the Kablam side about it, because we often get a lot of questions. People are like, "Where's my comic book? It's been 2 weeks," and so there's a lot to it. So the crowdfunding option really has been around just about, I mean, in its current iteration, a little more than, 12, 15 years now. Have we a little more than a decade?
That sounds right.
Kickstarter, I know, has been around before 2012, because I looked into it back then, and it could be much longer. I don't know.
I started working at I worked at this place, Deep Sky. I started working in 2010. I think Kickstarter was just coming into its own about a year. So I'd say probably like 2009 it's been around. Maybe 2008, something like that.
Hey, Rory did cheers dust. Rory, thanks, dude. Love you, man. Miss you. And it's really it's part and parcel to the independent world, and it's the way of getting around the big gatekeepers. And for good or bad, the big gatekeepers, you get that acquisitions editor that doesn't like the way you spell your name, or doesn't like your title, or isn't grabbed by the first page. And we all hear these stories of countless zillionaire authors who have they've changed the culture with their books that have been declined. They have a drawer full of letters saying sorry, but no, we're not going to publish. We're not going to make your movie, make your comic book. And so adding to that, the option to go around the big publishers is now the option to get all your fans to fund your project, rather than you saying, okay, I'm going to print 10,000 copies of my whatever and fill up my garage and hopefully sell them. You can get really, in essence, pre-orders for your project. And there's a lot of variations on that. But for Kickstarter, that's really all we've been doing. That's the way we've been doing. And we have, is it a dozen now, Barb? Is it more? It's at least a dozen.
It's more than a dozen.
Yeah, we have it. So at least a dozen. All of our campaigns have been successful and fulfilled.
Right. And what's weird is that I've had the two most successful Kickstarters for Silverline so far. One of them with Rob, and the other one was Scott.
Yes, and we had an awesome campaign. And we'll talk about our tactics. I want to say what Silverline does. What you can do on Kickstarter, or I keep saying Kickstarter, for a crowdfunding site, you can say, I'm going to make a matter transmogrifier. I just need $7 billion. So if you trust me to make this, give me $7 billion, and then maybe I'll make it. And hopefully, hopefully there's no charlatans out there looking to bilk people. But it happens that the project doesn't happen. The person gets the money, and they don't fulfill, and that happens sometimes, good or bad. They explain themselves. I backed a campaign once, and I don't know what happens. It was a very simple product, and I had to really follow up. And finally, it was months later that I got the product, and it was a quality product, but I don't know what happened. But what our editor in chief and Roland has decided, there's no ifs about it. We put a complete product. We have the story is done. It really is ready for the printer to click print. We just want to know how many times he clicks print. That's what we're doing with Kickstarter. And then there's more to it. We can add all the bonuses and the goodies, but it's another way to solidify your fan base, to create your family. So we keep creating our Silverline family around these campaigns we can communicate through Kickstarter and manage. It's a distribution method too. So we get all our orders in, we tell our printer, Kablam, and they print, and we have all the address and everything. It's a great distribution method. So your it's a pre-order, and it creates the product, and that's the way Silverline is doing it. There's no speculation. We're not saying, okay, we hopefully will finish this.
All the work, all the art is ready to rock and roll with our printer as soon as we get. Basically, you are just buying it ahead of time. You're pre-ordering it.
Yep. So it's ready to go. Yep. And so if we get however many orders we get, and sometimes people just opt for digital. And what's cool about it is it does give people the option to just get a digital copy. And a lot of times you get family, and you might get that uncle who's like, I don't care about comic books, but he wants to support. It gives an option. Okay, so we can toss some money in, make sure it becomes a reality, which is an amazing thing. And like I said, it's a fantastic addition to being independent. And there's been some amazing, huge projects. I love Mystery Science Theater. I've loved it since it was on TV in the 90s. And they used crowdfunding to come back. And there's many other big projects that the studios or whomever have said, nah, we're not going to do it. But they said, well, okay, our fans are going to do it. And there's a lot of fan fiction that's come around, and I know that, like Star Trek stuff, right? I mean, right, Rob? There's a lot of fan fiction, Star Trek out there. For despite what CBS or Paramount tries to do, I don't know. Sometimes they want to shut it down.
Yeah, you have to be careful when you do that. You have to get permission from them in order to do that sort of thing, and then you can't make money with it.
Right.
What you can do is you can fund it and do it if you have the permission, but you can't make money on it.
You can't make
a
profit.
Yeah, you cannot show a profit. And that's not difficult.
Right. Yeah.
No.
I know we all don't know anything about not making a profit. I'm sitting on my piles of money right now, so
that's what's holding me up. Sure.
One project that we crowdfunded, and we covered our expenses, and that was it.
And that sometimes
we got it out.
That's the reality of it. It really is in the creative world. Sometimes it's just this love of making a story, and all of us write. We all are writers, and that gnawing desire to get a story out there. And sometimes that's what it is. The story gets out there, you've got your story. But Silverline uses it, and big names use these crowdfunding options because it allows the fans to say, okay. Studio executives or publishing executives, you said no, but we want it. And really, this all harkens. I mean, there's lots of Star Trek came back because of conventions, because fans said we want Star Trek back, and that's got the movies back. So this having this fan base, and now with the internet, you have access to your fan base, and then Silverline uses each campaign We've got all these people who ordered our stories. We say, okay, here comes the next one. Here comes the next one, and they don't miss out. And so it's a great method to get a product out there, and I love it. So I am not intimate with Indiegogo. My understanding on the very basic level is Indiegogo is a lot more lenient. Like if you don't go through a vetting process, you just put it out there.
Right, and you have an option with Indiegogo. With Kickstarter, it's all or nothing. You have to make your goal. If you don't make your goal, the whole thing falls through. Everybody gets a refund on their pledge. Indiegogo, you can choose two options. You can choose the option to all or nothing, or you can choose to go ahead even if it's only partially funded. So and I think that is actually a risk, because if you're only partially fund something, the risk of going in the red is a lot greater than it's all or nothing. Right. Because when we do a Kickstarter, we try to kind of figure out ahead of time what our expenses are going to be. And so we set a reasonable goal that's not too far out of reach, but is still going to allow us a cushion, because we kind of know going in what our expenses are going to be.
Right. And
if we don't make it, it's all or nothing. If we don't make it, then we're not going to be stuck doing books at a loss.
Right. And I think from the consumer side, if it's the all or nothing option, is
Mhm.
is much safer, because if you
Yes.
say I'm going to make my matter transmogrifier, and I give you $200,000 and it's not funded, and you don't have enough to make your product, well, then that just money just went into your pocket to not make the thing. Now, some of those campaigns can be like, well, I need this to do this, this, and this. So ultimately, I love this much, but if I get this much, great. So that's the balance. Like I need $1 million to do it, and I get 500,000, and it goes into my pocket, and I don't do it. Well, that's terrible. But if you say I can do this much with this much, and on and on. And again, I use Mystery Science Theater as my example. They said if we get this much, we can make this many episodes. If we get this much, we can make this many episodes. And so it worked. They needed a minimum, which they met and blew out of the water. But they had a very smart campaign, which we'll talk about. So I'm sorry, I'm chatting here. We got Hyper Potato says Rob has done some great pieces for me through Kickstarter commissions rewards. Still need a Barb original. I don't know, Barb.
Go for it, man. Go for it.
And then Rory's still chatting, and we love you too, Rory. Love you bunches. My buddy Mark says hi. Hi, Mark. Love you. Hugs. I haven't seen Mark in like 15 years. And Rob, are you drawing an Atari Force piece for Hyper Potato?
No, it's not Atari Force.
It's a bold no.
It's
Hyper Potato.
It's a character from the Protectors. It's a commission piece.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, we've got one of our Kickstarter supporters asked for my email and commissioned me to do some pieces for him in a bigger size than what is done for the Kickstarters.
Okay.
When we do the Kickstarters, we do them I do them 8.5 by 11.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the size of here's a backer board for a comic book. It's about this size or just a little bit bigger is what I do. But this guy wanted some. He says he's a huge fan of mine. He loves my work, and he's willing to commission and pay me to do some stuff for him.
Cool.
So rewarding him whenever we do this each week, I do them on camera so he can watch as I work on them, which is kind of an extra added thing. And if I do any Kickstarter stuff for in the future for any of the Kickstarters, I will do those on camera as well, so folks can watch.
Yeah,
because I think it's cool to watch the artist or the artist work. It's not quite as much fun to watch a writer work.
Right. What?
He's hunched over his keyboard. But,
no, you're assuming the writer is typing more than sitting going.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of this too. Yeah. Well, we artists do that as well. I sit around and contemplate a lot before I get to the page. But
so Hyper Potato we got a sad kitty there, and then he says, now I want to commission some bigger pieces for bigger. Tell Rob, like murals, commission a mural from Rob. I think you can do it.
Well,
he charges by the square inch.
I am pretty busy. This guy talked me into it. The best thing to do is to catch me at a convention, at a comic book convention, if you're wanting a piece done. Like I'll be at Planet Comic-Con. When is that? In April. And come by and see me then. I love doing convention sketches at the shows. So come by and do that. And you can get whatever you want. I'll draw anything for money. Yeah, a little sign. I will draw for money.
We'll draw for money. And Rob, you said you got contacted via our campaign, which is awesome. We were talking. Right. We offer these extras. And the point is to put a carrot out for our backers to say, okay, well, we'll meet our minimum, which is great. Thank you. But if we could do a little more, everybody will get something, fill in the blank. I'll speak to our campaign with Barb. Silverline's been doing these trading. I should have brought all the rewards down here. I'm terrible. We've had our little trading cards. And what that does is twofold. Brings in new people to say, oh, cool, I want to help it get there. But lets everybody who's already backed tell all their buddies to say, hey, folks, there you go. We got a cool little cards. That's from Trumps.
This is from Trumps.
Yeah,
Oh,
and which is really cool because those were cards.
Yeah, that is cool.
So it gets people to say, come on, please back this. I've already put my money in. You do it, and you'll help both of us get to this next reward level. And that's up to the people who set the campaign. It might be a short goal, might be big goals. It all depends on the scope and size of everything you're trying to get. A lot of times you want you want those goals to, of course, complement and be something you can only get through the campaign, and that again entices people because you're not going to get anywhere else, and they can say, haha, I got this and you didn't later on. But hopefully they're not saying that. Hopefully everybody's saying, wow, cool, look at these bonuses and these extras. And people are really clever. You want to be really clever about these because that's what makes these campaigns successful and fun, because you keep adding on and getting these exclusive things. And a big thing to do is always offer exclusive, like everything. Something you got to have something exclusive to the campaign, because then someone will think, well, I'll just buy it later.
Right.
No,
this
you got to
is
make
something
it
that first time or newbies to Kickstarter or crowdfunded campaigns have to be very careful about what they're promising.
Yes.
In their packages, because I mean, if you're going overboard and saying we'll give you a T-shirt,
right,
with a printed logo on it, well, not only do you have to pay a very expensive price for a T-shirt and the printing on a T-shirt, but then your packaging fees go up because now you've got a larger package, or say you want to give away a mug,
Well, how much does that mug weigh?
This weighs a lot, and you are upping your postage on that too. And this is a lot of something that a lot of people don't realize, is that when they start adding on all these fancy and heavy stretch goal rewards, that they are just killing their profit.
Right.
So what we try to do is we try to either offer a reward that can easily fit into the same package as your comic book, or we do a digital reward. Now, for the Divinity campaign, we offered these small size prints.
Right.
And this is something that would fit into your comic book package. Or we did with Steam Patriots, we had a patch that we included, which was something small and easy. The Cat and Mouse campaign, we had earrings, the mouse earrings that we did on a 3D printer. Those were easy to toss into a package. We do trading cards, and we do postcards, stuff that's easily shipped along with the comic book. As for digital rewards, we have quite a stable of very, very talented writers, like R.A. Jones is one, and several others. And we will offer, say, a book that he's done 20 years ago or whatever. We'll offer that for free in digital format if we reach a certain goal. So digital prizes are really, really cost efficient.
And making it exclusive. And what's great, and first of all, I'm blown away by the generosity of all the Silverline creators that they toss something in, which is really, really cool. It shows a support for, I mean, the only thing they really gain from that is just getting Silverline out there. I know that everybody throws in, not everybody, we have a lot of creatives that throw something in that's fantastic. And it's not expected, but it's really, really cool. And Silverline has such a big creative family. Yeah, Rod, that's awesome. That's so cool.
That's the cover. Yeah, it's a cover for Sirens.
That's so cool.
Roland got a hold of me. He says, Can you do a Kickstarter cover for me? So there you go. There's an example.
And this right here, Dean did my variant cover for Kickstarter. So the only way you could get that on the cover was through Kickstarter. So they toss those in to make it to put that carrot out there to make it special. You can't just be the same. It can't be the same thing that they can get off the stand later on. It has to be special. In looking for products. Aaron, I'm going to ask you this one, so I won't just throw it on you. And when clicking through Kickstarter, or you see it in your Facebook feed or somewhere, what about a project? I don't necessarily mean the actual product you're getting, but what about the whole Kickstarter campaign grabs you to make you think, okay, I could buy this. I could buy comic book A about whatever, or comic book B about maybe something kind of similar, they're on par. But what makes it stand out to you? What do you look for?
Oh, I don't know. Most Kickstarter projects, I don't. I've funded ours, and I've funded a few other ones. I like certain. I guess it's the artwork that jumps out more. I'm not a big fan of paying $20 for a 24-page comic. I know a lot of people say, yeah, but we're independent. Yeah, well, independent or not, you can still you don't have to charge $20 for a comic. Right. I mean, you know, so I there's a lot of them, like I'll do graphic novels. That's my main reason why I don't back Kickstarters is they've done the creep. The price creep. We're like, yeah, it's $20 for a comic. And if you put that in a comic store, they'd laugh at you. You know. I think being independent, I think independent artists leverage the fact like we're independent and poor, and you should give us money, and you should pay $20 for this comic. And I think it's like, and I'm like, well, if your work sells, if it's good, but I see a ton of stuff where I'm like, this stuff is subpar at best. I'm sorry. It just
you're right. You're right. And it's tough because they need to step up their game to make it worthwhile. And I'm on the same page as you. First of all, I mean, limited budget. We can't just for one comic for $20. You know, if I could get a mountain of used comics, secondhand comics.
Or you can get it better be painted or blown away. But when I see people who don't even and I'm an artist, so I look at it from that. But if you're not understanding basic anatomy, or your stuff is like your backgrounds or half-ass, then why should I give you $20 for half-ass effort? Right. But they'll be like, yeah, but we have boobs in our comic.
Right. Well, take my money.
I'm sorry, I can get those free on the internet.
Yeah,
I have those free, so you know.
Well, the funny thing is the one thing is the other thing too. It's a big turnoff. Is half the campaigns that look on for Kickstarter is all covers. I can't even find the interior of what the book looks like.
Right.
I can't even find a preview of what it looks like, and so I just usually seem like, well, then it looks like crap. So why even give money towards it?
Yeah. So, okay, then if I'm going to glean here, but first, I'm sorry. Hyper Potato said sweet cover, Rob. We agree, sweet cover. Yeah.
Thank you.
There's a color version of it that Scott's got access to.
Yes.
I got to figure out how to bring that over here just a sec. But you're right. What happens is, and crowdfunding is part and parcel. It's hand in hand with self-publishing. We all love the prospect, right? But the balance. What's okay? So when I keep saying the big guys, I mean either Marvel or DC in the comic book world, or what is it? The big five now in the publishing world, and I don't even know. Penguin, Random House. I have no idea. Scholastic. I have no idea. I know they're all under most of them are under these big conglomerates, and so what you gain from that is quality control, with the chance of them passing on something awesome.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so you can generally assume that everything coming out of there is going to be pretty good, right? I mean, it's going to meet their standard. They've set a standard. So, and then what you lose is the chance of a real gem coming through.
Right. Okay,
opposite side of it is with the independent world, you have anybody out there, right? So what you gain from that is the chance of the gems, but then you also have the not gems. So and then the crowdfunding world, the same thing, right? I mean, it's just an extension of that independent world, and you really have to sift through it to find, and it's more work. It's more work from the consumer end to find the gems. So in the crowdfunding world, that's what the tactic has to be, and that's what Silverline is doing. So, Barb, I wanted to go to you because let's pretend. I mean, I'm gonna be the guy who wants to do a Kickstarter campaign. I think, oh, I've got a great comic book. It's ready to go. I'm gonna throw it up there, and I'm gonna have a mug and a T-shirt, and I'm gonna have exclusive art, and I'm gonna draw everybody I want into the comic book. And so, tell me what we need to look at. You've already alluded to that. You can't just toss a mug or a T-shirt in.
You need to, before you launch into your Kickstarter, you need to sit down and throw some figures together to try to figure out how much you need to make in order to cover a budget. And there's a lot of stuff that goes into doing a Kickstarter, and after the Kickstarter is over, most people don't even realize. For instance, well, let's do a nice round number. Say you make $7,000 on a Kickstarter. Right off the bat, Kickstarter is going to take around $600 off of that $7,000 for their fee and their payment processing fees. So right there, you're down $600 already. You've got to pay for any rewards that you do, and that can range from cheap trading cards to very expensive mugs and T-shirts. So you've got to figure out the cost of those ahead of time. Then you've got to figure out the cost of printing, and the printing is not cheap. That's going to be a good chunk of your profit. Probably at least a third of your pledges. At least a third is going to go to printing. Then you got to figure in all your supplies. You've got to have, if you've got comics, then you're going to have the bags, the boards, the mailers. If you're going to do Gemini mailers, if you have anything larger than your comic book, you're going to have large size mailers. Those are, you've got to buy those. If you're going to have international postage, that's a lot more. Postage isn't cheap either. That's going to run you, postage will run you about 9%, 10% of your pledges, at least, your shipping. And if you have any talent to pay, you have to figure out ahead of time how you're going to split your profits. So say you've got $5,000 left over after everything's done, and you have got 5 people involved in the Kickstarter. That's $1,000 a piece. You know, that's if you give all of your profits away. If you split all your profits up and give everything away and you have 0 left, you've got to pay all your talent. If you've agreed upon pricing ahead of time, say, I'll pay you $1,000 to do this book, and you only make $1,200, you are so screwed.
Yeah.
If you promise up front, I mean, you got to pay your talent before you pay yourself. Mm-hmm. That's just a given. You can't say, "Oh, sorry, dude, I didn't make enough to pay you, but I'm keeping mine." You'll never work in the business again.
And I don't want to speak for it. Wait. Oh, okay. We have a very boisterous entrance from Fruitbat 36. We got a I think that's how it's pronounced. I don't know if I'm reading it right because I believe it's a Canadian metric yeehaw. So I may have mispronounced it. We got colors for Wolf Hunter here. Hey, Fruitbat 36. Colors for Wolf Hunter. Huh. I think I've heard of that.
Never heard of it.
Yeah. And yes, Canadian postage.
Yes.
And just to get it over the border. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I'm in Buffalo.
Mexico and UK is even worse.
You're at the other end of Canada, killers. Right? I think, right? So yeah, Barb, you talk about, okay, an artist, and I know writers are artists too. For the differentiation, people who make the pictures,
yes. Your talent,
the talent. You've got to have an ironclad agreement and discussion with them. If you're besties, great. You still have to know. Listen, am I paying you flat out right now? This if we make $1 or if we make $1 million, you're getting this many monies, or are they going? to get a percentage, and that's a tough gamble. For especially when people are trying to make a career, right, Aaron? By drawing pictures, they can't just say, "Oh, I hope I'll make money later on."
Yeah.
It's very, very rare to get someone to agree to that. And I understand it's only in the creative world. I'm sure there are, I may not be only, but in the creative world, it's one of the worlds where you can ask somebody to say, "I'll pay you later," or "I hopefully will pay you later." And it seems to be like, okay to do that. Or can you do it for exposure? Or can you do it for, I'll put your name
Exposure,
out.
yeah, that's my favorite one.
It's tough. It's tough because if you're just getting started or you're trying to break into another genre or something like that, okay, maybe I'll do something. You got to work a deal. But very often, most of the time, you have to have an agreement. Either I'm paying you up front right now, or I'm paying you after the success of the campaign, either a set number.
There's a third option. Mm-hmm. One that I've approached some artists to start working for me on Divinity after Alex finishes up his run.
Yep.
And I've said, I will guarantee you X amount of dollars upon completion. And hopefully if the Kickstarter makes more than that, then you'll get extra on top of it. So even if I promise them X amount of dollars and the Kickstarter doesn't come through, I got to come up with that. And usually it's off of my portion of the Kickstarter, which I've done several times. I've kicked into my portion to cover my talent.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's tough to say as the creator or writer of the story. And then for your artist to make the decision, but they got to make money, and you got to make the money somewhere. So those are all, Barb. Yeah, thank you. That's all stuff you have to take into consideration, and there's a lot more to it. You
sit down and budget it out before you set your goal. Try to figure it as closely as possible. Whether it's just something as simple as the packing tape,
right?
That you need.
Right. How many rolls? Right.
Right. People don't think about it. It comes out of the really tiny little things, the backing boards, the bags for the art, not only the large size, but the book size if you're giving away any art.
And shipping. Make sure, because if you're not shipping a letter with a stamp, and the moment it becomes a weird size, it goes up exponentially. And so think of, if you're buying a product, what does it cost to ship the product to your home?
Now
what does it cost to then find, so let's say you buy a mug. So they all come in boxes packed in styrofoam. So you need to take those, and now you need to make them individual boxes to fit into something. You really, really, so you have to know, if I'm going to include a mug, that has to be a stretch goal at this dollar point, divided by,
to cover your expenses.
Exactly.
Well, the one thing, maybe you guys can answer this about, when Kickstarter first started, it used to be, now I'm talking from comic books because I don't know, that's what I deal with, but it feels like a lot of Kickstarters, Indiegogo, are more like advertising campaigns. Okay, so when they first started out, they were like, we need to raise money to make a print run of comics that so I will give, we will send the comics to the backers who backed it, but there's also going to be a surplus that we are trying to gain from doing this Kickstarter to put in stores and maybe Diamond and other things. I don't see that anymore. Almost all Kickstarters are like, they do the Kickstarter campaign, whoever pledges, they literally print the books that somebody pledged, and I don't see them printing, because I don't see any of these comics from these campaigns show up on places to buy online or in stores.
That's because print on demand has become so easy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what I'm saying is, you
had to agree to do such a small short run.
Well, yeah, I know. So I guess what I'm saying is it really a Kickstarter then, or is it more just an advertising campaign to get as much money? Because I never see a lot of those companies go further. Like, I've never gone into a comic shop recently and seen any Kickstarter comics in the comic shop. And that's what I thought this was for. To kickstart the comics, to get the surplus, to start putting them in stores and whatnot. But I never see that come over. I
think you're right. And that even might be, I don't necessarily know if it's wrong, because really it's almost just like a distribution. That's what you're doing. You're getting your run out there. And then for us, everything's available on Indie Planet. later on.
It's available on Indie Planet. Plus, on our Kickstarters, we do run a retailer specials, but we don't have a lot of retailers that take advantage of it.
Yeah.
The last show I was at just this past
I'm
weekend.
not critiquing us. I know that.
No,
with the
I know.
store, I'm just saying it was like they would see, like, now here's all the books I've got printed to give to other people.
I think
I don't see that anymore.
Yeah, Aaron, I think that was the original thought, which is why it's called Kickstarter. It was to kickstart a business by figuring out how to fund it, so then you could, in the place of a comic book, in the instance of a comic book, you're getting these folks, your fans, to help fund printing enough that you could
growing business.
And in the case of Silverline,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Barb, because yours is probably more important than mine. Anyway,
in the case of Silverline, it is the fact that we are kickstarting a business, but it's a long game. The ultimate goal is to get so popular in Kickstarter and put out enough of a line of books that we can move to the distribution.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Our stuff is available online, but most Kickstarters, like, they never go afterwards, like, okay, and after the Kickstarter, you can go buy the comics on my store, because this Kickstarter has kickstarted enough copies for my house, and I can start selling them on my store. You don't see that. I'm saying Silverline's different, because we do afterwards say, like, you know, hey, you missed a Kickstarter, you may have missed some exclusives, but you can still buy it in our store. But very rarely do I see any campaign afterwards go like, hey, we got enough surplus from the Kickstarter, then we can start selling them on the store. Come support us. They don't do that.
That's weird.
And so I don't understand. It's not a business plan.
And that was the point that I was going to speak to, is that have you checked with Diamond to see what it takes to get into the Diamond's previews? It's crazy. It is crazy what they expect, and it's definitely not set up for
independent people,
an independent creator of any kind. It's crazy.
Ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous. Yeah, because all of the big name people have abandoned Diamonds. You think they would be catering independent, and they don't.
Right.
It's
no,
like,
okay.
It
doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense, does it?
No.
This is why I don't understand why there's not any competition for Diamond. This would be
I don't get it either.
For a distributor to come into being that would cater just to indies.
There actually is a distributor, a very small one up in Washington called Emerald Distribution or something.
Yeah.
And it's just one girl. I don't know if she has any other people, and she just gets independent comics. She travels around Oregon and Washington and other places, I think, and just goes to stores and pitches like these are the comics of independent creators. And she pitches in the stores and gets them put in the stores. It's really cool. So she's so small, she's not even in competition to Diamond, but she caters just to independent comics.
Yeah.
I think it's Emerald City Distro. I think is the name of her company.
That sounds right.
She couldn't go nationwide.
Fruit Bat, we've been reiterating. He's reiterating what we were saying. Kickstarter people bypass the traditional market. You don't need somebody else to do it. I mean, you're relying on Kickstarter or Indiegogo and their network, but really, it is the opportunity for the little guy to do it, to be independent, and then. Eric writes, Fruit Bat, granted, I've only seen the pieces on Facebook and Instagram, but the coloring for Wolf Hunter looks amazing. Very well done. Yes, thank you, Eric. Agreed. The coloring, and it fits the story really nicely. I haven't seen all the pages. We've been privy to a handful of them, but they look really great. And Fruit Bat saying thank you. I don't know if it's to that statement because I'm sorry. They can see it on Facebook. we're putting them up there as we're getting them. And then Hyper Potato writes, a lot of the campaigns seem to just be to get another company to notice them. I've seen many of the smaller companies pick up campaigns for direct market distribution. And that's
a viable thing to do.
A lot of the independent, well, actually, I think almost every publisher is now looking for an established creative either individual or team who has done all the legwork to create the social media following, the branding, that's what they're looking for to grab. And then Kickstarter or a crowdfunding campaign is just one more part of that. If they see you're kickstarting something, now, you're on the radar of a bigger entity to notice you.
Yeah, because I thought about kickstarting my Egalin, which would be big, and I thought about breaking it in the 3 smaller books, but I'm like, I've got it down to where I probably sell the main book for $40. That's 300 pages all colored for $40. So I think that's okay, that's pretty good.
That's not bad. Yeah. That's not bad.
Softback, and I thought, well, should I not? Would nobody? Would anybody buy this? I'm like, they're paying $20 for 24 pages. Then 300 pages for 40 for an extra 20. Give me a break. Yeah, that's viable. I'm not going to split it into 3.
Now,
but I thought about doing Kickstarter, but the only thing that holds me back is, again, I had that old mindset. Like, but I'm putting this in my store. I can get copies as I go along. The Kickstarter really would be just advertising for it.
Right.
And is that okay to do that? Because I know a lot of people have opinions about Kickstarter and
No, I think it's perfectly fine because you're using it to use Kickstarter's.
It's a marketing
method.
It's a marketing method.
Rather than just you have now have Kickstarter to do it, but you would need to, like, for the consumer, they need to know, like, what's different from your site or Kickstarter. That's where the exclusive content comes in, or the extras, where you would have to have a Kickstarter cover or something.
And that would be what I have to figure out. And when I first started doing Kickstarter, there are sorts of weird, but it seems a lot of them are like a lot of the same, or like get different covers or whatever. I mean, it used to be like draw your character in there, you get advertised, but now a lot of the rewards seem to be pretty much the same across all the comic book Kickstarters. Mostly different covers is usually what they focus on.
I think there's because Barb was saying too, you're limited in what you can add, because then it becomes a diminishing return.
Right.
And then I also kind of think there's now becoming kind of an expectation, which isn't bad, of Kickstarter is where you get the variant cover. It's where you get that one little thing. Fruitbat's asking, why not? I think he's asking, why not do what you're saying? And I say, why not? Go for it.
Yeah, it's because I thought because you look at some of the flack people get, more famous people doing this and companies doing it, but I didn't know. Like, I was trying to this is just basically a pitch, and so marketing. I'm like, if it's free marketing, it seems almost like a marketing publicity stunt. Then that way, like a 1 month publicity stunt they get, which I'm not saying that's bad, but I'm saying it changed from kickstarting a business to now it seems to be more like a 1 month publicity stunt to like buy our stuff.
Well,
also you've got to keep in mind too that if you're counting on, and I know that you know this, I'm telling this to our audience. If you're counting on Kickstarter to do all your marketing for you, you are way off base.
Yeah.
You have to be prepared.
It's a method.
Yeah, you have to be prepared to promote yourself, balls to the wall, 110% for the entire time that you're running the Kickstarter. And that's one thing that I think Scott just absolutely excels at. Is that
thank you.
We did Divinity 2 and Steam Patriots 1 together, and it was it even beat my first campaign. It was the most successful campaign that we've had. And the thing is it was just me. I have a team of 4 people, but basically it was just me because my penciler doesn't speak English. And Scott, somewhere along the way, lost his artist. So he was by himself, and it was just him promoting his and me promoting mine. So we didn't have a whole team of people to help us.
Well, that's why
we just had to go. We had to go 110% constantly on all platforms, all the social medias, and you have to be prepared to do that, because if you're counting on just Kickstarter to showcase, you're going to get lost in the shuffle then, because there's thousands of campaigns.
You've got to just like you've got to go to your friends and your family. You got to go to the easy ones first, and you're always going to get your mom or whatever, which is great. But a campaign is the right word. You've got to go out, so you hit the soft targets first, but then you just got to keep going, and you're always walking that line of being spammy and annoying, and just creating something creative that people want. And shout out to Rory, my co-creator here. He and I get along really well, and we could be a couple of goofball idiots, and that's what we played to our strengths, being a couple of idiots. We just made some dumb videos to put out there. Roland edited them real quick and tossed them up. And so you have to stand out. And same thing.
It's hard work.
Barb kept making these creative, like the panels from Divinity, you know, with changing the speech balloon or changing the thought, you know, making it clever. And you can only do so much if you don't have a publicist behind you. And that's
your own publicist.
That's
and it's
the work.
Hard work.
Yeah. And you've got to be creative. And
you're right. You're walking a line between your Facebook page being just constant.
Buy my book. Hey, did you know I had a book? I got a book. Did you have a book? I got a book. Do you have a book? Go look at my book. Book. Yeah.
And your friends going, if I see one more post from you,
I know.
I get to the point where I apologize. I'm like, hey friends, I love you. If you've seen it, forgive me. But I know some of you haven't. Please.
Yeah. I have a formula. I have a formula. I post morning and night in Facebook, mid-morning and late night on Twitter, noon and early evening or whatever. I have different platforms, and I break that down into, so I'm not completely doing 10 posts on Facebook.
And Barb, it's when you start. Have you ever dialed in looking at the metrics of your social media? Like, oh, how come my 8 a.m. post had this many interactions, but my 9 p.m. post, or when you share a post. I've noticed if you share a post on Facebook, if I create a post, I will get 10 times the number of eyes on it. And I'm not saying it's big numbers that I do from when I share it. So if I take a Silverline post and just share it, or if I create the post myself, that post I create will almost always be 10 times the number of people see it. I don't know why. I have no idea. So like tonight, I share it because it's easy, but it probably would be better if I took the link, created my own. Anyways, all this, because you figure all this out, because you got to figure out how you're going to get in front of people. And you still have, and I know people are lying. They're like, oh, I didn't know you had a comic book. And I'm like, how the crap did you not know? I put it up there 700 times a day. But legitimately, like, I think back, I won't see stuff from friends. Like, where is that guy? I haven't seen. Yeah. And then you go to their page or whatever, and you realize they're posting all the time. So I don't understand it. That's just something to take into account.
I don't understand how that works with Facebook, because I have plenty of friends that pop up on my feed, but some of them I don't see stuff from them for weeks. And I'll go, and like you, I will go to their actual Facebook page, and they're posting stuff on. Why isn't that showing up on my feed?
Algorithms.
Because I'm following them.
Yeah.
There's some sort of algorithm involved in that. And I guess if you could figure that out,
well, I think the algorithm
that would be one way that's a marketing thing. Figure out how that works.
Aaron touched on
it.
It
may take keywords. It may take keywords.
But Aaron touched on it, and I'm not saying we're all not very handsome and attractive people, but there's that. If you're just a hot person, like I've noticed, like you can post anything and get 10,000 likes. It's it's
if you're if I got like a 22-year-old attractive woman to pitch my comic, that'd be bank.
You'd be right. And that's what makes you like just completely lose faith in humanity, because I'm creative. And same, like all of us that go to conventions too, we're creating something new, something unique. But somebody who draws a Marvel character or boobs can get
TNA
a line of commissions, and so be it. But that's just that's just life. That's just slogging through getting attention.
Let me ask you guys: if you're on Facebook, are you more apt to go to somebody who advertises their store or their Kickstarter? Because I don't see a lot of people, because when I see people advertise their store, I go right to the store. I buy stuff from the store because of one thing. And this is the one thing that I get that Kickstarter doesn't get. If I usually buy it from a store, wait for it, they send it to me right away because it's done. A Kickstarter is a promise of something to come. I have some Kickstarters out there that, they just can't get 22 pages done. They just can't get it. They just can't get it done.
You're right.
If it's on a store, and this is why I don't understand. People will back Kickstarters for a promise of something that might show up. But you send them to a store where I literally have it on hand. I can put it in the package, send it to you. I don't know. I'm like, seriously? Seriously?
That's why I like our policy of having the work done ahead of time.
Ours is almost like a store. Yeah. It's like putting in your orders. And you're right.
It makes us
so
kind of unique.
That's why Silverline, like we have 100%. It's not like we've never. There's no speculation.
Twilight
right.
Grim number 4 has been done for months.
Yeah. There's no speculation
from my perspective. It's in the can. It's done.
I finished the 3rd cover of Sirens about 3 o'clock today.
Yeah.
The kick starts tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, it's all ready to go. But the great thing is, and like little insider stuff is like that inside, like in the Silverline creators, the energy starts to like, oh, it's the Kickstarter's coming, and people have these last minute, like they want to meaning the creators, like, oh, I can do that, I can do that, and they start seeing the art. I got him. Hey, Brent, another successful crowdfunded book. Brent there with Kalis. Hey, Brent, good to see you.
Hi.
We've been talking successful campaigns. We've all been involved with successful campaigns and what works and what doesn't. And it's just like, what's the adage? The advertising, 50% of our advertising works. We just don't know which 50%. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of, it worked for this guy, but it doesn't work for us. But what Silverline has is we got a complete product. We don't put something up for speculation. And Kalis was one of the early ones. Out of the gate, and you had some great campaigns. And if you have gems, but wait, I'm sorry, I keep missing all these comments over here. I apologize. Dean wouldn't have done this. It was never happened on Dean's watch.
No.
So speaking of covers, this is about 20 minutes ago. We're talking about covers. Congrats to Rob for nomination. Rob, best cover for Pulp Factory Awards.
Yeah,
Nightmare. What?
And I've also been nominated for best interiors as well. There's
cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's fantastic.
That campaign is on right now, and I can if you go to airship27hangar.com, that's the website for the company that I do with Ron Fortier. It's a new pulp or pulp book publisher. And right now, they're having a contest where people are voting for the best book, the best novel, the best anthology, best short story, best cover, best interior illustrations.
Hey.
And if you'll go to airship27hangar.com, there's a link there for the the way to vote. It's the link to where you vote.
Rob,
ballot.
I'm going to read it. I'm going to click on another comment here. Do you know how to? Can you change your name to that right now? Because we want people to go vote for you. Okay. Do you know how to change your name? I want that in there. Is it too late for that? So we got
you have to change your name before you jump in. He'd have to jump out, change his name.
If you click on if you're down at the bottom on your own face, you can change your name. I think you can. I could be wrong. So Fruitbat says agreeing with you there, Barb. Kickstarter is the funding mechanism. Everything else is you. Yeah, that's it. It's the beauty of it, and it's the agony of it of being independent. If we could get picked up by the big guy, you lose your independence. You really do. Right? I mean, but you might make a bunch of money, and actually you might not. In the publishing world, if you don't get big numbers as an author, I'm just saying, just from the book with no pictures, you might get pennies. You might get pennies, or you may get your advance. But then if you don't make that, that's not a good thing. If the sales don't make it, it's tough. You got to have big numbers to be successful, or you're like all the creatives out there who created this, who created these characters. Well, that character now isn't yours. It's Marvel's or DC's, and that's right. It's what do you want? What do you want from it? So the independent world is independent. If you are the person slogging through, for better for worse, and if you love it, it's great. It's a struggle, and you're there, but it really is. It's a struggle. And then Fruitbat asks, "Oh, what happened there?"
Oh, that's me playing with
Now,
welcome to the Scott
Yeah.
Wakefield Show.
I changed the name, but it's not showing up. So I don't know. I don't
we
know
have
what
too
I
many
did.
people on
now
screen.
nobody
Yeah.
has names.
Wait. Okay,
yeah.
it should come back. So
Nameless.
when you say store, do you mean your own online store? Names come back. There
Oh,
we go.
there we go.
Aaron, there we go.
Yeah,
Aaron
there's
Humphreys.
my there's my thing.
Yep.
I just put it up there.
Perfect.
So that
Yep.
my own online store, which is I post on. It's funny because I'll post that on Facebook. I always add it when I do stuff on Facebook. Like, check out my webcomic. Here's my store.
Yeah.
And people don't go to your, and I don't get it. Kickstarter. Oh, let's go. It'd be like if you went into Target or like Safeway or something and said like, and like, you know,
There you
look,
go.
I'd like to buy some bread, and then like, okay, well, we might fulfill that in 30 days,
Yeah.
but we're not sure.
we might. But
We might.
We might.
But
Yeah.
why don't you pay
We'll
for the
let
bread now?
Bread rise. Yeah.
Right? Why don't you pay for the bread now, and then you might get it in a year? It's like you wouldn't do that. So
Aaron,
yeah.
I wonder, it might be, so there's the thought that with Kickstarter you're trying to get off the ground here, and so
Yeah,
that
well,
people,
what they're hitting
there's compassion. There's some
There's
compassion, right?
That's what they're hitting. They're hitting that, like, I'm trying to earn money, and so
Yeah.
people like, well, have a little empathy, and it's but the thing is when I start to realize, well, they're not really raising money because they're not taking the business beyond the Kickstarter that much.
So, very often, you're right.
Then I start to think like, well, then it's literally, you have a 30-day online store for me to buy your stuff, and then when the Kickstarter ends, your store goes away.
Right.
So if that's the case, then what's the difference between my store, which is up all the time, and the 30-day store, which is up on
Right.
Kickstarter, because
Right.
they're not taking this and going further.
So
That's
which is why Brent used a very good tactic of filming under a bridge in a cardboard box.
yeah.
And he put a lot of dirt on his face and asked for support for his comic book, right? And
He did.
he held a crying baby, and
Yeah, I got a police
Now,
record out of that.
you were saying that it's up to the independent creator to put in all the work. Now, Roland
Yeah.
and BJ literally
yes,
stuff all of these
yep,
books in their living room or dining
Oh
room.
yeah.
And now
I think
we do
both.
use a wholesale shipper that does save us a little money called Pirate Ship. So
Oh, yeah.
there's a little tidbit. for you
Yeah.
guys.
Yep. And Barb, that's good. Thank you for anyone out there that really is considering this. Look to save where you can save pennies, because when you're saving pennies times hundreds, hopefully, hundreds or thousands of product, save those pennies. And if you can streamline a process, if you need to buy a label printer, really, if those things are very, very important,
Thermal
because
printer, label
If-
printers. Yes.
now,
yes.
and we're blessed here with the Silverline crew. We have Roland and BJ, and we've got this publishing. We've got Kablam, and we've got, so Scott Wakefield isn't getting orders at my house, but very often that's what happens. You're going to do that at your house. You're going to have all these boxes come in. So if you need to park your car where your boxes are, keep that in mind. How many boxes are you going to open? How many boxes? Because you're going to bring boxes into your house to put it into boxes, and how many sleeves and how many paper. And we say, we're talking the comic book world. It could be any product, but you really have to keep that in mind. And how many days are you going to take off of work from your full-time job to get this thing done? Are you going to do it on a weekend? And I told you guys, don't let me forget. You consumer out there, you click, I support this campaign for this many monies, and the campaign ends. You get the email, thank you, blah blah blah, and then you say, oh, it's been a week, it's been 2 weeks, it's been 3 weeks. Where's my product? There's a lot involved. First of all that money goes to Kickstarter, and it takes a while for it to go to the creator.
It takes
and
about
then-
2 weeks for Kickstarter to give you your money, and then it takes another 2 weeks to get it all printed.
Yep.
So you're 4 weeks in, and before you start stuffing envelopes.
Right. And it's a process. So we've really, I don't know if we've had many grumpy people, but some people just don't understand. They think, well, it's done. Shouldn't I be getting it soon? Okay, we got fruit bat. Yes, we agree wholeheartedly. K-less is awesome. If there's a word that means more than awesome, that's the word. Yes, and congratulations,
Uber awesome.
Rob, on your nomination. And Roland is
27hanger.com.
Roland's chiming in here. I think the idea that people get to help raise the money. I think this is in response to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're established, sometimes people are like, okay, he's fine. He's doing fine. Yeah. He's got a bookstore.
Yeah.
It's just to help get it made. And that, it's not supposed to be a store. in reference to Kickstarter. We want that, but we kind of use it that way, meaning us, that we are using it that way to get it like a store started, and then with everybody that's been involved. And what Barb said is we're playing the long game. We're slowly building our
brand
library, and our brand, and so that's what's getting kickstarted, getting the big Silverline world, all of our titles and everything, and so then people can go and shop at silverlinecomics.com, which will link you over to Indie Planet, and you can get your comic books there. And yes, Hyper Potato says the capital the
man
is in the chat.
The man is in
and
the
he
chat.
responds with a woot woot. Woot woot. Yes. Thank you, Roland, for joining us. We are getting to the last 15 minutes of our show, and I think, and Roland, I hope you're still out there. We're supposed to start talking about perhaps something big is happening on the horizon. Now, this is insider knowledge for all of our viewers out there and people who get our emails. Click those emails, because we always like to give the little secrets, the little extras, which is what Roland's really good at. The Kickstarter campaign starts tomorrow, allegedly. I mean, officially. And tonight, you might have the opportunity to back Wolf Hunter.
You're getting inside knowledge
tonight. So all of you out there watching, this is secret info. So I don't know if I'm supposed to show. You know what I'm going to do, and I'm speaking slowly. So
show
Roland,
the Kickstarter video.
So Roland can chime in. I'm going to show this Kickstarter video because it's coming up tonight for all of our VIPs out there. So we'll come back. Brent, I want you to talk about a little bit quick when we come back about little tactics you use to be successful on Kickstarter and maybe any pitfalls you have. But we're running out of time here. So here we go.
Hi, and welcome to the Kickstarter for Silverline's latest double feature, Wolf Hunter #1 and Sirens #1 remix. This is our 17th Kickstarter. What? Yes, my mind is blown. We have successfully fulfilled 15 of those, and number 16 is still in progress, so we'll get to 16 successfully. But you're here to know about Wolf Hunter, so I'm going to make room for Tim. Take it away, Tim.
Hi, this is Tim TK. Wolf Hunter is the story of RAF Group Captain James Willard after he's injured in the Blitz during World War II. He is then hired by Churchill to perform counterintelligence operations on English soil, where he will have to locate and neutralize a German spy. During the course of his mission, he'll have to prove to Churchill and to himself that he still has fight in him and he's still the man for the job, even after all he's been through.
Doesn't that sound cool? So the other one we're kickstarting with that is Sirens. Now, Sirens was published in the early 1990s. Silverline was a packager then. Silverline wasn't the publisher, we were the packager. And they went together in double size, but we're going to do them as they were originally intended to be. 4 issues. This is the first issue. It's a horror story of Jeff Delmer in New Orleans who gets trapped in the siren's call, and she's slowly turning him into a zombie. So, you got to read it, back it if you can, share it if you will, and remember to make mine Silverline.
That looks totally awesome. So we got a great campaign starting officially tomorrow. We've got a World War II CIA helping the British. Churchill, did you see the cigar there with Churchill? That was really cool. World War II story, and then a New Orleans horror story back to back. That's when you back the Kickstarter campaign. Yeah, with zombies, you get a flip book only from the Kickstarter campaign. That's one of the exclusives, so you won't find that anywhere else. So that is coming up soon, and we will be putting our link here on all of our socials everywhere. So you saw it here first. Those stories are coming up. Brent you have had more than one successful campaign. We don't need to opine too thoroughly about what you did and didn't do, but if you have any tips or
I heard there was pole dancing involved.
yeah, the videos are pretty. I mean,
Yeah,
we didn't know if YouTube would allow them, but
there was no pole dancing involved. Mom, my friend, do not know what they're talking about. I don't know if I have much more than what you guys have talked about. Something actually just now, Tim TK had a video that helped.
You mean that guy?
Yeah. Hey.
Yes.
Promote his book, and that's actually I think it's a great way to pump up your product, and also just kind of show everyone that you're one of them. And that's something that I think I've appreciated about the independent comic experience more than just about anything else, which is these, I don't know if any of us will ever really be famous. And if so, I don't know if it'll be for creating comics or because we shot someone accidentally who was famous or something.
Yeah.
But
Column A, column B.
But what we can say is we're all normal people, and we took the step to create something, and we just want to share it with people. And I think people, especially today, can get behind that kind of thinking. So if you can actually capture a video with your phone or something that just says, "Hey, I'm trying something new. I think it's pretty cool. You should give it a shot." I'm not pretentious. I have nothing to be pretentious about except the fact that I've written a comic, and you should try it.
Love if you read it, and if as long as it's not $25 for one comic, right, Aaron? That's really, I want to support you, but man, $1 a page is.
Yeah,
I mean, $10 is like okay, yeah, it's independent, but because it just kept creeping up.
Yeah,
well, if you're willing to spend 10, how about 15? 15, how about 20? I'm like,
it's the fundraiser
okay, stop.
mindset. You want $5 for a bar of chocolate?
Well, if you want to pay $5, I'm sure
that's got to be damn good chocolate.
That's not what we are.
Yeah.
We're not on speculation. We're not fundraising. We are pre-ordering. Oh, Tim, you're coming up just a second. So Roland chimed in here. He says, he and BJ counted that we've done 27 comics, which is awesome. As the Silverline world just keeps growing. Every other month we got 2 comics.
And that's the object.
Yep. We keep growing, and it's really cool because our world keeps getting bigger, and some of the Silverline titles keep paying. It's all coming. Our Silverline titles are some of them are going to overlap. We're going to have. It's really cool. Big number of crowdfunding. Yep, Piper Potato and Fruit Bat that says, "Whoa!" After the video, Wolf Hunter looks awesome. Yes, right. And Roland says didn't realize so many. And then Fruit Bat saying, "Yeah." Page's colors are kicking. Wolf Hunter looks amazing. Tim used to be our producer and host for the Wednesday show, and now he has his Tuesday show there on the West Coast. And so he and I have spent many hours across the screens from each other, across the continent, and he has teased Wolf Hunter for quite a while, and I'm super, super crazy happy that it is coming to life because even at the inception time of it, which I know it's probably been percolating in Tim's brain for years before that.
Oh, yeah.
And now it is coming to life. Tim, give us your quick something awesome about Wolf Hunter, because we're down to the last few minutes of our show, and we're so happy you're here.
Sure.
And it's going to start tonight, right?
You're right. That's the idea. Yeah.
Yes.
Wolf Hunter. It's a alternate history set in World War II, featuring a technology heist. And it is a canned spy game, cat and mouse, trying to suss out the lies involved. It's, if you like planes, trains, and automobiles, Murder on the Orient, and Tinker Tailor. It's kind of all those smashed together.
With a little John Candy cameo.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh man,
I just watched Murder on the Orient Express because I missed it, and I want to see Death on the Nile. I love Kenneth Branagh.
That's Brenna. Yeah,
that guy.
Brenna. Tim, that your story looks so cool, and I know we talked about this way back when you talked to me about craft, which Tim, I think you still work on our craft.
I still do the craft series, and we're if you're in the group chat, expect invites for conversations and interviews here soon.
Yes, because we talk about craft, and all of us know it. It's like you have this mountain, right? The iceberg, of knowledge that you've dug and you found, and you know that your protagonist doesn't like licorice and keeps a pocket knife and parts his hair this way, and that none of that makes it into the story because there's not time for it. So you have all this knowledge, and Tim, I know, has been working on this. So the story, so I know it's going to be there's depth to it, because he's done tons of research. Because you had to figure out what side where the throttle was on a Spitfire, right, or something like that. Right?
Yeah. So the most specific example I have for that is having to research passed by the British Parliament in 1939. I had to know which clause in that. Part of the story hinges on a specific clause in that piece of legislature. So I had to dig through the library of the Library of the House to get the House of Commons in order to figure out why they couldn't just do the X thing.
Right. And the time it takes, and people don't understand. So that little bit of information is in the story, and you are, first of all, I know if you're anything like me, you're trying to stave off the actually people, because if you're writing historical fiction, they're going to be out there, and the answer could be, give me a break, it's a comic book. But if you have the opportunity to be authentic and real, to throw something there, and I know you've done that. So
yes, and it also helped from the illustrator AJ Cassetta, who is a military illustrator. So if you served, you get those fun field manuals with the IKEA instructions.
Yep.
So he drew the pamphlets for your field manuals, and so we have a photo accurate Rolls-Royce engine and a Hawker Hurricane. So we give you that. You can give us this one thing you need to buy in on. We gave you the engine.
It's so cool. Yeah. AJ's his machines are incredible.
Yeah.
I love it. I love just seeing the little teaser art that's been thrown out there. The airplanes look so cool. And I love, and for people that like military stuff, when you see it drawn like that, drawn pretty realistically, it's very exciting, and it's a delight for the reader. So great job, and I can't wait to read it. Any spoilers you can give us here, like where the story might be going? Is this a limited? This is a
As a 3-part series, there is room for growth at the end, because we do. But real life spoilers.
Okay.
This is something that has been theorized for about 60 years and has only recently been documented and supported, but still just working on hypothesis within the British intelligence community. During the time of World War II, there is an estimated 6 German spies that were in points of British government that were not detected. And so the idea for a continuation of Wolf Hunter would be the secret history of how the Special Operations Executive removed those spies without anyone knowing.
Wow,
that's cool. That is very cool. I like military history. I was raised on that from the day one. My father's a World War II buff, and by the time I was 5, I could say Brandenburg Gate.
Right.
And if we ever do a spinoff, we have some ideas for perhaps doing a certain Polish prisoner who infiltrated and escaped Auschwitz and fought in the Warsaw Uprising, which is a real person. If you want to look up I forgot his name. I think it's like VTech or something like that. But yeah.
And you, if you're anything like me, and I know you are with the research, it's like you keep how many tabs do you have open up across? That'd be a cool story. A million tabs that could go anywhere. So we got some comments here. Hyper Potato Wolf Hunter looks like something we dreamed up for if you love war stories. I agree.
Get over to the Kickstarter.
Yep, Kickstarter Hyper Potato Kickstarter cover especially, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's so much cool art, and for everybody out there, if you haven't, Facebook, Instagram, even on LinkedIn, Roland and BJ are awesome about getting stuff up there. I'm sure our interns. We just had an intern turnover because of time. No one got fired. Our interns have been doing great too about tossing stuff up on social media. And then, I need a link as soon as this launches, and we will get the link out there. Roland,
Yes.
Roland, I'm asking you to provide that because yeah, he says it will be there. It will be.
Yes.
So that link is coming. And again, back to wrapping up. We've got our last few minutes here. In the crowdfunding world, if you get traction right out of the gate, if it doesn't stagnate at the beginning, just like anything, it builds and builds and builds and builds. And so tell your friends back at the beginning, get it going, and it's very exciting. It energizes the whole thing. So if all of you who get the emails and so forth, hop on it tonight and do what you can, and then spread the word. Yep. Email everybody, post it on Facebook, post it on Instagram, send it out there.
Help us out. Yeah.
And because
help us out.
If you like Silverline, you like independent comics, this is what we're doing. This is the way we do it right now, and we want you to spread the word.
And if you live in the Oregon area, Saturday at Legacy Coffee Roasters, we're going to have like a little launch event. We're going to have these handy dandy QR codes. You can just scan it with your phone and back right there.
That's fantastic. Cool. That's fantastic. Where again is that?
Legacy Coffee Roasters in Salem, Oregon.
Legacy Coffee Roasters in Salem. All right. So thank you to those guys for supporting you. That's so fantastic. Yeah. And
that's a neat idea.
Like Brent, like you were saying, the independent world. You're going to go to the coffee shop and see Tim and be a part of it. And that being on our show, watching our show, commenting on our Facebook posts, all this stuff. We love that. That's what makes the independent world so cool.
Hey, Tim, we're going to do a reading.
Oh, a dramatic reading with voices
in the coffee shop.
Work on your British accent. Maybe you could get Peter to read some of the British parts for you. Okay.
Mary Poppins. That'll really give you a good time. Yeah.
There's a lot of Dick Van Dyke.
But potential spoiler for issue 2, we do have kind of a heartfelt monologue from a Romani survivor on the train. If you don't know the history of the Romani people during the Holocaust as well, we're also subject. So yeah.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, my son did a stint in Poland. He's in the Air Force, and he had a chance to visit Auschwitz, and it was life changing.
Yeah, I got to do it too. Actually, I was part of a ministry that did a training over there for teachers, and I got to go there. It's
life changing.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Yeah.
It seems, and it's not that long ago in the span of history. It's not that long ago, and to hear
there's some bad stuff happening in not too far away from there.
Yeah,
as we speak.
If we could learn, it would be amazing.
But we're doomed to repeat.
I know, and keep telling the stories and keep reading your history and learn. And Tim's done he hasn't taken a lighthearted approach to this amazing story. It's gonna be a lot of action and fun, but based in a deeply researched and a thorough story, and I really can't read. And we can't. Sirens is the horror side of it.
Yes.
It is a remix, which we got a really cool. If you flip it over, it's going to be the remix logo on the top.
Sirens is about a guy who's very cynical and kind of burnt out. And his name is Jeff. And then one day he meets this lovely lady called Lois, and it's love at first sight. And it's flowers and hearts and unicorns and rainbows and and he doesn't realize that she's mixed up in a society, a voodoo society that practices blood magic, and she gets him in trouble inadvertently, and then he gets mixed up with zombies and this blood magic, and he has to. She disappears, and he goes to find her. So it's a lot of voodoo. It's blood magic. It's zombies. It's New Orleans. I mean, what is not to like?
Right. It's
unicorns too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Unicorns is not to like. Is that what you're saying?
Unicorns and zombies.
Yeah, unicorns.
I mean,
not missed.
Some of the old Scottish fairy tales about unicorns are kind of terrifying. You know.
You're right. You're right.
If you're unworthy, they would eat your heart.
It's a funny thing. You follow all the fairy tales from now, and they just get more and more and more frightening. It's just like, what are these?
Brothers Grimm were actually pretty grim.
Yes, they are very
Their
scary
stories were pretty grim, you know.
Yeah.
And like the The Little Mermaid does not end well in the original story.
Neither does
The
Cinderella.
Disney
Chop
ending
off.
is not what happens.
Nope. Cutting toes to fit off in fitting glass
Cinderella.
slippers, and this is
No, the heels.
Mhm.
Cut the heels off so
Yep,
they can fit into the glass slipper.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, Sirens maybe has a little of that. Teamed up with Wolf Hunter, which it launched officially tomorrow, but unofficially for all of our viewers and our email readers and subscribers and so forth tonight. So we'll get the link up. I haven't seen official word that it launched yet, but usually Roland's pretty awesome about it. Wait a minute. I think we're getting a link. We got a link. So it's going to be posted. I don't know how I share that here tonight. So go to our Facebook page. If I put in the comments, can I do that? Let's see. Bear with me here. We got to wrap up our show here, folks. We have been talking Indiegogo. We have been talking. Here we go. Can people Kickstarter? I think everybody can see this from Silverline Comics. It is. If I got to get rid of our banner probably, and then put our comment up, and then there we go. Can you click on that? I don't know if you can click on that, but it's going to be. It's going to be in our Facebook page. It's going to be everywhere. So, folks, thank you to
in the chat. It sounds like Roland is saying that you're the jump master, Scott. You got to say green light.
Like it's officially like
10
to say go. It's there. Is
9.
that it? It's launched. It's live, right?
No.
Is it?
Yeah. Hold on.
8.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah. And the Kickstarter campaign is live. And for everybody who can go get over there right now, we're going to wrap up our show. So you can go over there because we know you don't want to miss what's going on right here. Thank you to Daytona Beach Comic.
Get in there early. There's stuff that you can only get if you get in there early.
Exactly.
There's some great art.
Yeah. So did he launch
jump in?
It's there. Kickstarter.com/project/rollman/WH1S1.
There's the link.
It's there. The link is there. I don't know if you from where I'm looking right now.
I'm trying to share a screen. I'm looking up Kickstarter right now, and I'm not.
Okay.
It's not coming up.
I got it in the comments. Can you
probably
guys
have
see
to
it?
go direct it.
Yeah, I can't for some odd reason. It's not letting me copy
Okay.
and paste the link.
Kickstarter also scheduled maintenance at 7 tonight. So get your
I
order in
saw
now.
that. I saw that too. Yeah. So Kickstarter might be for 60 minutes, like for an hour, stuck and doing some sort of maintenance. It's up there. It's going to be in our Facebook.
It's
links.
live.
It's live. It's there. Or if you just go to Kickstarter.com.
Do you have it up?
And you
Yep, I
search
do.
for us.
I got it up.
You search
Okay,
for
I see it. I
Wolf
must have
Hunter.
just-
Or Sirens or Roland Mann, MANN. You can find his campaigns because it's got his name on it. So, hey, folks, all of our viewers out there, we really appreciate you being here. We love all you guys for chiming in. Hyper Potato, Fruit Bat 36, and Eric Flint. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for your comments and your insight. We really appreciate you. I'm gonna change our banners here. Don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe.
Yeah,
And Aaron's sharing the screen. Thanks, Aaron.
Yeah.
We got all of our background on the stories. Go over to Kickstarter and check it out because it's going to be it's awesome.
We've already got pledges.
Yes,
Someone
we
already
do.
bought some
Oh,
art.
Hyper Potato says it's back. So thank you. And we will continue this. The streams continue Sunday night and Tuesday night. And then we'll be here next Wednesday night, and Dean will be back with us, and he'll be doing a much better job of running the show. And we appreciate all of you out there. All of you who have backed all of our campaigns. We appreciate you. And we wouldn't be here if it weren't for all of you guys. So our comic books are out there. We've got 27 titles at least right now, and the Silverline world keeps growing. Thank you to all of our supporters. Keep an eye out for where we're going to be at cons. Those of us in the frozen north, we're going to wait for things to thaw a little, and we'll be at the conventions where we can get to them. And we'd love for you to come say hello. The campaign is live. Head over to Kickstarter, and we're going to wrap this up. And I'm going to hit our closing bumper. So, folks, as always, thank you, Aaron, for sharing your screen. As always, make mine Silverline. We'll see you next week. We love you all. Good night.
Good night.
Hey, I'm Alex Saviuk, and I just want to let you know, make mine Silverline.